For being 6:30, we'll call the meeting in order. Please rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Taylor,
Here.
Owens. Here. Cummings. Raybrook. Here. Carlstrom.
Here.
Peoples.
Here.
Whalen.
Here, thank you. Any additions or corrections to the business and consent agenda?
None.
Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Braybrook. Support by Cummings. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. This time we'll open the floor for public comment on agenda items. There's also public comment towards the end of the meeting for any item you'd like to bring to the council's attention. Start in the front row. Sue? All right, moving on. Public hearing, resolution 2603. We'll open the public hearing at 6:31.
Okay, and it looks like we have some folks from Storage Control here. If you guys wanted to come up and present, now would be the time to do that. I think what we'll do is we'll let them do their presentation and then I can add some remarks after that.
Hi, I'm Jim Schaefer.
Turn that
Thanks.
microphone on.
Oh,
A little finicky.
Gotta hold the button down.
Oh, it turned on green.
It'll turn red.
There we go. Got it. Perfect. Thanks, guys.
wonderful.
Yeah, we should.
So, my name's Jim Schaefer. I've been through this before, and I thank you very much. It was 2023 when we went through the same thing, and then even a time before that. But today, I'm asking for another industrial facilities tax abatement, please, and I'd like your consideration. The Schaefer family has a long history in Sparta, and it goes back to the 1800s, believe it or not, right? And so we were a fruit growing family, and today Storage Control represents technology for the fruit growing families across the nation, right? So it was A.J. Schaefer and Sons back in Kennewa, back in when I was a kid, and we kind of became customers. I think of us as customers of Sparta, right? We're taxpayers, and we're proud. We're proud of what we do. We innovate, and we've always been there. So fast forward to my father, who started Storage Control Systems. Our first facility, we rented where Tom's Donuts is, and he was 52, starting a new career after crop dusting, and which he learned from the Korean War, and or learned to fly, and then were pioneers in crop dusting for orchards. So then our first purchase was then 420 South State Street, and right next to Wesco, and then we added on to that. And then in '09, we bought 100 Applewood from, it was Cutler Manufacturing, right? And it was something else after that, but that was a great acquisition, right? And we built on it, and we made it home for Storage Control, and we've been adding on ever since. So we've built some unique equipment to service the fruit growers. So it was back when my dad started this, I was a senior in high school, and I laugh about it because I was gonna work one summer. It's been 44 years now, right? And my daughter works for me, my son works for me, and it's continuing to be a family affair. And so that one summer really has turned into kind of my life's work, my family's continuing my family's legacy. So, today, Storage Control Systems, we employ about 55 people from Yakima all the way to, obviously Sparta, Sodus, New York, and Paddockwood, UK.
How many people are in Sparta alone?
30.
30.
28, I should have the exact numbers, but I wrote down 28, but I think it's 30 today. And we've increased since our last abatement. And we filed that with Jim.
How many was added in that abatement from 23?
2 or 3. And I'll have to get you that exact letter. So it's not just adding those 3, but it's the 28. They wake up every morning, they have a paycheck, they're in this community, they're going to schools, right? And so we'd like to repeat that. And this time I'd like to ask for an abatement. We're gonna grow it again, right? So the expansion, and I've spent millions of dollars in Sparta, but it adds infrastructure to the community, it signals stability, and it creates conditions for the next generation for storage control to grow, right? So I understand the council's guiding principle. You would rather receive 50% of something rather than 100% of nothing. I respect that, right? This abatement is not a giveaway. It's a very tool of what your policy was designed to deploy. It rewards investment, it creates jobs, it incentivizes growth that would not otherwise occur to the scale or pace, right? So you've given it to like Tessa, you've given it to me. General formulations, Sparta graphics, it's in the memo, right? But, what's different maybe for storage control, that we've been in the Sparta community 150 years. And personally, 44 years, right? And we're here to stay and grow. So,
Can I add a quick thought?
Yeah.
I'm Madison Schaefer, so I'm his daughter, and I'm at the start of my career, but I'm very dedicated to growing the business as well. When our current building was a little bit too small, we talked about, okay, do we add on or do we move somewhere else? But our roots, like you mentioned, are in Sparta, so we are really dedicated to staying here.
thanks. Yeah. So, I guess before I let Jared speak, and he's my attorney that helped me write the application and things, and he probably has some things, but my family's been good long-term investors of the community for decades. I'm asking you to show the 6th generation that that you're willing to help a small company grow in the Sparta where we started. So thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Hi, good evening. Jared Belka with Warner Norcross here with the applicant. We appreciate your time and consideration this evening and appreciate working with Jim to get this on the agenda. Know your time is precious, so I'll be brief, but we got a copy of the memo and there's just a couple things I want to point out some clarification on. I know it references a 5% cap, a statutory cap. That is not an actual cap. That threshold, that percentage threshold, which with support for this, you're still under. All that does is trigger an additional level of review by the state treasurer and tax commission. There is no statutory cap that limits the ability to do this. I notice that there's kind of an underlying theme that, hey, we may have other projects to use these on. So, and you can, the village has a limited toolbox that you're able to attract additional investment in. But, as you draw and attract other maybe larger projects, that grows the pie. So that threshold probably drops or stays the same. But I just wanted to make that point clear. This tool obviously does support investment and job growth. And Jim did a great job of kind of outlining the history here. And they are continuing to do so. I know there is reference to some job creation here. What I don't know, and you likely have a copy of the application in your packet, but I mean, these are 6-figure jobs. These are substantial, and they're well-paid jobs. Obviously, spending money here in the community. So we are here to seek your support. you know, this is, it's important to the family here, and they look forward to continuing to invest and grow in Sparta with your support. So we would appreciate your consideration of support this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a question. Yeah.
Okay.
Will you be adding or expanding your manufacturing process with this expansion that the request is for?
We are moving, see, yes, to answer your question, yes. Because we have, what we're building now are more of the office. And so what was the, call it temporary offices, becomes more manufacturing.
And so what type of manufacturing?
We build controlled atmosphere equipment, nitrogen generators, carbon dioxide absorbers, controlled atmosphere doors, everything associated with the storage, long-term storage of apples.
So with that increase in manufacturing that's gonna be going into your old office space, about how many jobs is that gonna create?
Do you know what we put in the application?
Oh, I think we had a total of 10 initially. Within the first couple of years, we had 5 listed.
Just cause I didn't see any mention about expanding manufacturing in your proposal.
Well, that
This-
allows us to move.
Yeah, this, I mean, all part of this is supporting that growth, overall growth. So this particular addition opens the door for expanded. This application is specific for this. Each one of these IFTs has to be specific to the addition. That's why it's described as this office addition, where they can centrally locate and grow those portions, which in turn grow the manufacturing operations. This particular investment is not in a manufacturing bay or addition, but it's in support of that.
You know, like, you know, engineers, right? Office space, they move and now we have more room.
I guess when I look at the industrial facility tax break, I view it as, all right, this right here is creating manufacturing. This is creating manufacturing jobs. This is expanding manufacturing, where when I look through this, I'm not seeing that here. That's
Yeah, this particular abatement, you know, not to get into the weeds, but the applications support that companies who undertake that process too. I'll use the Gordon Foods example, right? They built a new headquarters down in Wyoming. Wyoming. It was like a $52 million project. Their office building, they received an IFT for because they also manufacture, you know, food off-site or, you know, not at the obviously office, but it supports the companies that are involved in that entire process and both supporting and actually the buildings that are manufacturing product or machinery and control equipment.
And she reminded me that some of the things that I said we're gonna be moving and expanding, we're bringing home the instruments division from my UK arm. So we need space for that, and that's where some of that will be housed. So it's a big picture, right? It's office space, so we can grow with high quality, high paying jobs.
Okay, no, so there, Jim, there's, is this a buying of equipment here? Or, an expansion of the building, or is it just what's inside the building is gonna get, I mean, is there equipment to be
Yeah.
bought? Or what is this?
No, it's really an expansion of the office space, which is about 7,000 square feet. So it's kind of the final phase, we built on, we bought the existing 33,000 square feet, and then we added 34,000 square feet. And now we need a place for all our executives to be housed together and grow that arm so we can create more jobs and manufacture more equipment.
What was being done with that room before?
Well,
I mean, you
It
had
didn't-
it
it didn't
thirty-four
exist.
thousand square feet, I mean, was it, being used for what? I'm just trying to find out.
The room
what
I say we're gonna move out of, there,
over here, yeah.
well, the second floor is the space I'm talking about. It was kind of our temporary conference room.
Oh, gotcha.
You good, Bill?
Yeah, I'm good with that, thank you.
I mean, the village in the past is, you had an abatement already. I can't remember when the first one was, like 2009, I
Yeah,
wanna say.
yeah.
I can remember that one. And
You've been here a while.
A while.
You have your own history here.
my wife's family actually is the Myers family. They built
Okay.
the first schools for Sparta. so.
Yeah. We gotta go by
Anyways,
twice a
back to
day.
train of thought here. Recently though, the village did approve your 2023
Mhm.
abatement, so, you know, we do recognize, you know, the value of you as a, you know, business owner in the community, obviously, you know, from our past abatements. That cap of the threshold, I apologize, I forget your name.
Jared.
You made reference to, you know, if the cap is exceeded, you can always go to the treasury. But that's not a guarantee. They have a yes or a no on that. And if they say no, then that's where we sit with our concern.
Yeah, and
So,
if I could address
Go-
that
go ahead.
point. So I know another reference in here is that it would impede the village's operations. Part of that review threshold, which you, the council, need to outline in a resolution, is that it doesn't substantially impede the village's, you know, financial operations in the other taxing jurisdictions. So one, that state treasurer threshold doesn't get triggered unless you exceed 5%. It doesn't say that they won't approve
Yep.
it. But quite frankly, you know, if you were red flagged by treasury as being a liability, then you probably wouldn't, you know, be sending in a tax abatement application. Two, with that growth, it takes into consideration the aggregate, right? So, you know, I know there's reference to, you know, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. All that does is expand the pie. So if there were a tax abatement consideration for an IFT that came forth, that would be considered both, you know, at the total SEV impact and what it would be subject to an abatement. So I know it's listed as a concern, but the dollar amounts outlined in the memo, I think you can see from just the village operating millage, it equates to about $2,400 a year. Obviously, this abatement applies to all the taxing jurisdictions, and you need to take that into consideration. But given the investment in job creation and obviously what the family has said here this evening in terms of intention to continue that growth, you know, we're asking as a partner for consideration for this request. I know it's listed as a concern, but you know, you're well below that currently. And unless you would think that this particular abatement would substantially impede that, then I'm suggesting that it doesn't appear to be an issue.
I just felt necessary to kind of point out, I mean, where the cap is there for a reason. And, you know, we have to be good stewards also with township money,
Understood.
schools money, you know, I mean, you know, counties, so. Is the building completed?
No.
It looks like it when I drove by.
It's insides, you got some, we're in drywall right now, so probably. I'd
That
like
was
to say a
another
month,
concern,
but-
I mean, in past abatements, we typically do these prior to, I mean, it's kind of almost like hey, we would like to, you know, build this building and do a tax incentive to help that facilitate along. To go and look at it when it's already been constructed, you know, it's not really typically the way the village does it. We did make an exception on your last building though, because the abatement come in late again after construction already started. So,
If I could address that point too, and if I may.
Yep.
There's a 6-month window, right?
yeah,
that
I'm
once you
very
pull a
familiar
building-
with everything,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, the council has, you know, what we typically like to see as far as, you know, moving with the abatement.
Sure. I was just gonna speak to
Yeah,
oftentimes.
I know the statute, so.
No, I was just gonna speak oftentimes that's done to allow for finalizing budgets, because if there is the 10% mark, then
Yeah.
we would have to come back before you.
Anybody else have any questions?
I question the fact he said 23, 28 jobs, and your application here says 5 to 10
Yeah,
in the
so,
next 2 to 5 years.
so the 28 is what we currently have in Sparta right now,
Mhm.
right? And we're gonna grow 5 in the next, what would you put in the application?
Well, we had 5 within the next 2 years. Likely, given discussions, it would probably be about 10 over the next 5, I'd say.
I don't
Yes.
see 2 to 5 being a significant job growth in our market.
Oh, we're.
I mean, I'm sorry, but
Mhm.
I guess, you know, with the scale of wages for these particular jobs, they are well higher paying jobs. This isn't one coming with, you know, significant production that may be at lower wages with a higher number. But obviously every bit is incremental and meaningful.
Increases are increases, that's part of the rules, that's what I'm offering. And I'll be held to it.
I don't know if it matters, but what we do, this expansion in manufacturing really helps all the apple growers in this region too. So all that innovation and everything is to help our apple growers be able to sell their apples for more money, and it really helps them store their fruit long term too. So it's not really just us that it helps, all that expansion and
Yeah.
innovation.
Not to get sidetracked, but you bring that up, I know you're heavily involved in New York as far as storage control up there. Do you have facilities here local that you've also been doing too, or?
Oh, yeah, you know, many, right? The Heron Brothers facility, that's owned by Third Coast now, or Josh Morris, or,
Grange.
Windy Ridge, we did the Grange, farm market, I mean, 100.
I know you have a little niche, I mean, as far as, I don't think there's much competition in the market, at least in this
Yeah,
area.
what's kind of clever about, I think I have 9 patents that they aren't all surrounded about around fruit, but a couple of them are. And Madison heads up something called Safe Pod. And we can see the respiration rate, kind of the heartbeat of an apple. And we can reduce the oxygen. Grandpa used to keep Searums at 3%. We actually keep Galas at 0.3% now because we can see the heartbeat and whether it's gonna stop living. And when you do that, you can extend the Gala market 12 months.
Yeah, so at 3%, they can only sell their fruit till January or else it will turn brown. But with this technology that he invented, we can store the fruit until August, like 12 whole months, and still they can still sell it to the grocery stores. So we work with a lot of Sparta growers with that specifically.
Yeah, and it's they get another $100,000 in their pocket on each room.
Oh,
Yeah, because holding the fruit long gets more money per bushel.
higher value, you know,
Yeah, and the
less
packouts,
saturation in the
yeah.
market. So how long can you hold a Honeycrisp is the question though?
12 months
That's, yeah,
at low oxygen, but without that technology, probably 5 months.
you know, years ago it was, you better eat them when you
Yeah.
had them.
No,
Yeah.
it's changed a lot really because of her help and some of my inventions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're proud of that. You know, we really do help the fruit industry. You know, really worldwide. We're exporting to India and Mexico and, you know, obviously the UK.
And we recognize that, so, I mean, it's, you're an asset to the community, so.
Thank you very much.
So why we gave you abatements in the
Yeah,
past. So.
absolutely. So I just thought I'd ask for my one and final, you know, because we're done with, you know, this piece
It'd
of
be
property.
nice to
we
just
grew
deal
up.
them out, Jim, like the poker cards, but you know, it doesn't work that way
Well,
unfortunately, so.
Just trying to give you my history,
Yeah.
you know, or anybody new that doesn't know me. Because it is valued and absolutely the money that we aren't paying in taxes, we're adding employees. And I think that's really the take home message, right? Whatever money we save, we're gonna spend right here in this community. End of story. So, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, all good?
Very interesting.
Close the public hearing at 6:54. Jim, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Sure, are we on new business A now? So it's the same topic, but obviously we have the public hearing. Certainly appreciate what, Storage Control had to offer there. I think the council's obviously had an opportunity, to review the memo. As the president kind of alluded to, it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate everything that's going on, but at a certain point, the council is gonna need to draw the line on these IFTs, as I think he just said, they can't just be dealt out because, you know, we appreciate what somebody's doing, right? I mean, they're really intended to spur something that otherwise wouldn't be able to happen, and that's just not the case here. And if we don't draw the line at some point, you know, how do we say no to the next one or the next one after that, or have that reserve capacity that I alluded to in the memo? So I would strongly recommend that the council not approve this particular one. That doesn't mean that we don't appreciate what Storage Control is doing in the past, but they are currently getting the 2023 abatement. They've had the ones in 2009, and all the things that were just talked about, those are gonna happen regardless, whether we're gonna do the abatement or not. So it really, I don't think it makes sense for the village and for the wider taxing authorities that we're working on behalf of tonight to approve it. So that's where I was coming from in the memo. I mean, it's of course always easier to, you know, to say yes, you know what I mean, these kinds of things, it feels good and it's exciting, but I do feel very strongly that it's important that the council continue with that line they've drawn in the past, which is that it's gotta be a but-for situation where absent the incentive or the credit, that the investment couldn't happen or wouldn't happen, and that's just not the case here. So happy to take any questions on that. Obviously, you've seen the analysis we put together. Did appreciate working with Jim and Jared on it and where they're coming from, and I'm glad that they got to have their day in court here, so to speak, as we talked about, and make their case. And ultimately, it's up to you guys, not me, you know, in terms of what you do on this. So that's where I'm coming from.
It's really tough to make a decision with someone that's been in the community for a long time to say no. It's really hard, but we have to draw a line somewhere.
And I think we also have to think about the taxpayers as well, because if we give them an abatement, then that part of their bill is gonna end up being covered by the residents.
I don't know how many other council members hear it from residents, but residents really do not like these tax abatements at all. I don't know if anyone else hears it, but it's not very well liked as far as with the residents in the community. You explain it to them and they understand it, and then they kind of get it. You know, it's okay, you're gonna get a $10 million facility building, you're giving an abatement for 50%, you know, it's you know, you're getting 5 million instead of nothing. So it's a tool, I think, more in my eyes has always been to attract the development. You know, and it's easy to explain it that way.
Yeah,
so.
process wise, as a practical matter, the statute requires a decision made by resolution, you know, for the council. So whether, if that's approving, there's a resolution in your packet, you know, to approve it. If it's denying, you know, there's a resolution in the packet denying, but we do have to act within 60 days. So I just wanted to explain what the process is. So there are those two. You could also, that they're asking for 12 years at 50%, you could do a shorter term as well. You could do, you know, anything from 1 year up to the 12. So those are basically, as I outlined in the memo, the three options. There's the, you know, kind of approve as applied, there's approve with a shorter term, and then there's the denial. So those are kind of what the council has, not kind of, those are what the council has in front of them to consider.
The current abatement expires in 2033, if I'm not mistaken.
We approved it in 23, so that probably 35. So yeah, there's quite a few years left on the current one. That one does have a dollar value, you know, that the village and the other taxing entities are foregoing about 20,000. This would be an additional 10,000 on top of that. So
Is that per year?
per year,
Per year.
okay, that's correct. Yeah, that's outlined in the chart here.
Jim, I just want,
Sure.
when you were getting to that and and I just want to get a better handle on this, when you're saying there's so much of this, let's call it the cap money. Like how much is out there? I mean, would that really be sufficient to bring in let's just say a big company or whatever?
Yeah, the cap's kind of interesting in the way it works is because the SEV, of the abatement is added to both the numerator and the denominator. So it does take quite a bit, to affect the cap. So a large one, we would likely be able to still do under the cap, but we are getting close to it. As was pointed out, you can ask for permission to go beyond the cap, but I kind of view it the same way that, President Whalen does, is it's kind of a warning sign, right? I mean, that's a lot of our SCV and taxable value that are tied up into these kinds of things. So I think that there's a reason that exists in the statute. That it is correct that we could technically go beyond it, but I think it's important to view it as kind of a caution or a yellow light, if you will, as we look at it.
The thing that bothers me the most is the risk of having an opportunity and we lose it.
Me too. Otherwise, I wouldn't, be making the recommendation that I am.
Any other questions? Hearing none, entertain a motion to either A, approve resolution 2603 to grant Storage Control Systems their IFE, or approve resolution 2603, same resolution, to deny the IFE.
I'll make the motion to deny
Approve the resolution.
approve the resolution to deny
Denial.
the IFT.
We have a motion by Carlstrom to approve resolution 2603 for denial of the IFE application.
Okay. Would there be a chance afterwards to go for a shorter one, or is this, I'm just saying?
This is either
I mean,
up or
one,
down, Bill.
was this one the 12 years?
They were asking for 12 years, yeah, and the motion, and hasn't been seconded, would be to do the 1 to 9.
Okay, I mean, just me, I like helping, or doing what I can for, businesses that are continuing to invest and be here and stay here, which I think is good, to show them then to, deny or, say no or hold it out for somebody else that may come in. I mean, we have somebody here,
Yep.
Just saying.
And the village does recognize that, Bill. I mean, it's clear that, we gave 2 abatements in the past, so that is being recognized.
And for me personally, if this was adding significantly to the manufacturing here in Sparta, my outlook would be different. But it's not expanding manufacturing.
Is there a second?
We have a motion by Carlstrom. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Braybrook. Further discussion?
So this is to deny it. Do I have it right?
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2603 to deny Storage Control Systems IFE application. Any other discussion? All in favor?
I
Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Motion passes 6-1. Right, moving on, resolution 2604 is a resolution to recognize Sparta Sports Boosters as a nonprofit organization. This one ought to be a lot easier. I don't know.
We hope so. We have Chad Fisk here with the Sparta Sports Boosters. If you want to come on up, Chad. You can kind of outline what you got going on here, and
Yep.
we'll go from there.
So my name is Chad Fisk, I'm with the Sparta Sports Boosters. We are in the process of getting our raffle license. And one of the check marks of that is to be recognized by the local municipality as a nonprofit organization. So years past, we've been doing the buck pull with Brick House. And this year we kind of want to get a little better prizes and be able to sell raffle tickets beforehand. So in doing that, we need to make sure we're, getting an actual raffle license from Michigan. So,
Any questions for Chad?
How does this
Say
compare
a
with
ref, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
501c3 or what's the difference?
we already are a 501c3.
So
This is just to qualify the boosters to apply for a raffle license through the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
So we're already 501(c)(3) through the feds, and we even have our stuff through the state also, but this is for the raffle, I can't remember, the raffle
It's actually through the
authority.
Michigan, I think it's the Michigan Lottery.
Yeah.
They have a
Lottery or
special,
something.
they have a special form. It's sort of, I think they just, in the past, maybe they've been burned by what you might call like a fake charity, you know, and they just want to make sure that you guys as a body view this as an actual, you know, local nonprofit.
So
It
this-
isn't an actual gaming license is what they call it though.
It is a gaming license, a
So-
charitable gaming license, that's
So
correct.
technically you could be having poker fundraisers too, if I'm not mistaken.
I know there's something in there with bingo, but
Okay.
I didn't see anything about, I don't know. We're gonna, I mean, we talked about doing bingo, but this is more for raffle, you know. Some of the, we wanna raffle bigger items at the buck pool.
I think it's a great idea myself, so.
I always thought they were, so I don't think it's a
I-
problem for
I
us
think
to
in years past-
recognize it.
In years past, I think it was running from our DDA raffle license.
Yeah, the state just wants to make sure you guys like, know who Chad is, know who this organization is, know that it's not, you know what I mean? Cause how do they know, right? They probably get a bunch of these forms, you know, every year. So it's just more or less you guys saying that, you know, you have a certain amount of faith in this organization, that it's a real thing.
So
I
the,
think they've been around for as long as we've been in school, so.
so the school system itself isn't count as a local governing body then? So the school,
I asked, no, it has to be, cause I asked, well, with the school board count, and they said, no, it has to be through the local municipality.
and then like, how long is this for? Is this like once we do it, is there like a renewal process, or is it
I
like,
didn't
that's all in the state's hand and you renew with the state?
I don't think there is, I think once you're qualified, see, once I get qualified, that still doesn't give me a raffle license, then I have to apply for a raffle license
Okay.
each time. So this is just to qualify to apply for the raffle.
I think you apply every year for the.
I hope not.
Not with this part,
Not
like
right.
once, now, we
Yeah.
could, yeah, we could always like, let's say, God forbid, something were to happen with the organization and it went in a, you know, direction that the, you know, we didn't think was a charity, we could always, you know, withdraw this from the state, but once we've said this, then
Yeah,
they just
we're-
have to do their
Yeah.
component with the.
Yeah, I had to
with the
send them our
license.
tax information, all the stuff we buy and sell, our bylaws, this, if it gets approved, and, you know, a bunch of other stuff, so.
Yeah, the only compliance the village has is authorizing or not authorizing the resolution. Outside of that, you deal with the state from
Yeah.
here on out,
Yeah.
so.
So it's basically us saying that, yes, Sparta Sports Boosters exists, it's a charitable organization.
Yep.
So it's just a check to make sure that you're
Right,
not some fly by night.
right.
We recognize that they are
Okay, that makes sense.
legitimate, so.
They are actually a separate entity than the high school, the school itself, they just do it for the
Right.
school,
Right,
for the sports part.
just like a band booster or.
Yep, same exact thing.
Okay.
All right, entertain a motion to approve resolution 2604.
I'll
make
that
the motion.
Huh?
Support.
Let Tom have it. Let Tom have it, I'll support.
Motion by Peoples, support by Braybrook. Gotta be quicker than that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Chad.
Appreciate what you do.
Please ask me if I left.
And good luck.
What's that? Oh,
Would
yeah,
you think less of me if I left?
No, no, pretty common.
Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
Tell the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
All right, executive session, we have non-village manager report. You have anything, Jim?
Nothing further to add.
Any questions for Jim? All right, Chief, you have anything else? Any questions for Chief? Conrad,
Nothing for me.
got a lot of ducks quacking down there with all the rain or
Yeah,
little infiltration taking place?
but
Yeah. Any questions for Conrad? Mike?
No, sir.
Questions for Mike? All right. Moving on, communications. Anybody have any communications?
None for me.
Moving on, payment of bills, March payables in the amount of $788,752.83. Entertain a motion to pay our bills.
I'll make that a motion. I read them this week.
Taylor spending money. Motion by Taylor, support by Cummings. Any discussion on the bills?
No.
Once again, the council gets the bills way ahead of time of the meeting, so we have ample time to review them. Not like we're just rubber stamping here, so. All in favor to pay the March payables?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Public comment at this time. I'll open the floor for public comment for anything you'd like to bring to the council's attention. I'll just go by a raise of a hand. Sue?
Sue Johnson, Orchard Drive, Village. The postcard. And I know last time at the village council meeting, you had stated that if we become a cityhood, we will reduce property taxes by at least 1.2 mils, correct?
Correct.
Okay, can you explain to me how you get to that 1.2?
Can
I
I
think I
personally
know,
explain
but-
it to you?
Pardon?
Can I personally take and explain it to you?
Well, one of you.
Jim, would
Well, I could, but it's public
I mean,
comment.
it's public comment, it's,
I can answer it at the end. I mean, it's public comment.
okay.
You can't answer that?
It's comment. We can answer it, but it's public comment. So we'll answer it at the end.
I'll have Jim address it for you.
Okay.
It's guaranteed we can do 1.2 mils, so.
I just,
And the library is not gonna get left hanging out to dry.
I just
So-
asking where the 1.2 would come from.
Yep.
I don't understand what the problem is with that.
Oh, there's no problem at all. It's
Oh.
public comment is not a time for question, answer, and debate.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I run a pretty loose
Okay,
meeting
okay,
where I
no
do go
problem.
back and forth with, some answers. but-
I'm not going back and forth, I just asked a question. If you can't answer the question, that's all you gotta say.
I know that, Sue. I just said that
Okay, so
I
then-
allow some back and forth, and I'm gonna have Jim address your question for you
Okay.
Okay.
Would that be today or,
at the end of the meeting.
oh, well, then I guess you can't answer my other question either. My other question is, we pay 12 mils now, correct?
Correct?
So if we reduce our taxes by 1.2 mils, that means we will only be paying 10.8 mils?
I'll also answer that.
That, you can also address
I can
that.
answer that one too, okay.
I'll let Jim answer it all, so.
Okay, well, then I will be waiting for your answers.
Any other public comment?
Hello, my name is Susanna Watts. I wanted to come and introduce myself because I'm running to be your next state representative here in District 90. I am seeking the Republican nomination in the August primaries. A little bit about myself and my professional background. I am a nurse anesthetist, also known as a CRNA or nurse anesthesiologist. I'm a U.S. Army Reserve veteran, a small business owner, and a homeschool mom to 3. Most of my life has been spent outside of politics as I raise a family, work in the operating room, and run a business. Like many of you, I care deeply about our local communities and about which direction our state is headed, which is why I'm here tonight. I don't know how many of you are aware, but our state's facing some serious challenges around healthcare, especially when it comes to access, funding, and workforce shortages. About 30% of Michigan's budget goes towards healthcare, which is the largest line item in the budget. And I've seen firsthand what happens when decisions are made by those who've never worked within the system. And I can say that policy looks different when you've lived with the consequences. So that's why I'm here, because we can't address the property reform, property taxes, reform those, decrease any other sort of taxes without looking at healthcare. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on everything Sparta. I think you guys would laugh at me if I did. As a state representative, one of my goals is to be able to create good relationships with local governments so that I can listen and support you, because you guys are the experts on what Sparta needs, not somebody at Lansing. A lot of people ask me, I get this question a lot, and no, running for office was never a career goal of mine. I'm here because I ended up realizing I had 2 options. I could keep complaining, I could step up and try to fix some of the inefficiencies that I see within the healthcare system and with the state government at large. Because the amount of money that everyday citizens like you and I are having to pay is just ballooning out of control. Thank you so much for allowing me to introduce myself. If you have any questions, feel free. Love to talk to you afterwards. Thank you so much for everything you do for our communities.
Thank you. Right, any other public comment? When did you sneak in, Lauren? Yeah.
You guys are busy.
No more public comment? All right, close that out. Council member announcements. Announcements.
I was just gonna say, I was hoping that they'd stick around to the end, but I hope that if they do expand manufacturing, that they come back and try to get another IFE.
Right. City Hood discussions. It's not on the agenda, but Jim, would you like to address the question?
Sure. So the village council, as you might recall, appointed a independent committee to study the cityhood question. There's a report on our website where it goes through it in detail. There's also a financial report where it explains how some of the conclusions, actually all the conclusions were made, including the 1.2 mil reduction. That primarily comes from the township's general levy falling off and the library's levy falling off. So that's how you arrive at the 1.2 mils. I know there's been some discussion about the library and what the city might contribute to that in the future. And, to the extent the city council decided to contribute to that, that funding could be provided from our general fund that we get and through other gains in property taxes. So we don't anticipate necessarily having to replace that library millage. So that's where the 1.2 mils comes from. In terms of the question, will our levy go to 10.8? No, our levy would stay the same at 12. There's other levies falling off, the library levy, the general operating levy for the township. So that adds up to the 1.2. I know that the certain council members and also the committee made it a priority to, basically back up that 1.2, right? And say that that's what they'd like to do. And, ultimately that would be up to the city council if it goes through. But, in terms of the postcard and what's in the report, the numbers overwhelmingly support our ability to do the 1.2, if not more, if that's something the city council would like to do. So I hope that answers it.
Sue, did that address your question?
Sure did.
Okay.
But wait, no, maybe not. You stated that it will take the money away from both the township and the library, correct?
Correct.
So if we decide we want to have a library, do we have to vote in a new tax?
No, there's a variety of solutions that I'm actively talking about with the township as it relates to the library. So I think there'll be a solution that doesn't necessarily include us having to do a new tax.
So you don't feel that we would have to vote in a new tax to pay for this library?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's a variety of options on how we can, I know we try not to get into a back and forth, but there's a variety of options. I'm very confident the library is going to, there'll be a solution for the library. Just like with the fire department, we've already come up with a solution. That one's kind of nice and that we've already got it. In a perfect world, I'd like to get there, with the library ahead of time too, but if we don't, we can do that on the back end.
So in other words, you think that maybe the library should do the same thing that the fire department did?
Oh, we have a great deal with the fire department. We put together an authority and we have a great
I don't know what
situation.
it's called now.
Authority.
Okay, so you think we should have a library authority?
That's a option. It doesn't have to be the solution though. There's probably about 6 different ways we could do it. I would be supportive of really any of the 6. So I think there's a solution to be found for the library to be sure.
Well, I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, yeah.
Anybody else have any announcements? Hearing none, meeting adjourned, 7:09.